Welcome to episode 23 of our second season on the surnames and early families of Appalachia and the American South. For those of you searching for names not covered today, stick around to the end of the show to find out how to get a free copy of the catalog that lists each name in the episode in which it was covered. The list is just an email away. On today's show, we'll investigate more names that were requested by folks just like you. One of those families belongs to a comedic 1960s TV and movie star. If you're new to the channel, I mix in a bit of family history to determine if they are among the region's oldest families. I also sprinkle in some trivia along with the origin and meaning of the surnames to spice up the discussion. I hope you'll join me. Number 1, McCune. It seems there's a debate among some family historians that MC and MAC indicate a Scottish or Irish origin. Now, in almost 30 years of doing research on Ireland, Scotland, and England, I've never seen any evidence that one is more preferred by either ethnicity. In fact, there's no difference between MC and MAC because both mean the son of in Gaelic. The Scots and the Irish spoke forms of Gaelic that linguists classify as Guadelic languages. The Breton or Briton and the Cornish and the Welsh spoke what's called a Brythonic language. They were Celtic languages, but they're a different branch. Since my dad and grandfather had MACK as their middle names, I did some digging on that presumably third way of spelling the prefix. I found that it's Irish for son of, and so just like the other two prefixes. I also found that it could also be in Ireland, short for Magnus, the Old Norse name. The surname McCune is an Irish equivalent of McEwen. It looks like phonics worked for some of the McEwen folks. One of the earliest people named McCune in America that I was able to find was John McCune. He was born in Northern Ireland in 1712, but he immigrated to Cumberland County, Pennsylvania, where in 1750 he married Agnes Hinkson. They had at least 3 young'uns, including Robert, who was born in 1753. I find him interesting because having a name, an Irish name, and presumably Catholic religion, that's typically what you would find amongst the native Irish back in those days, he married Sarah Vandergriff in a Presbyterian church in 1778. You might note that the first Presbyterian church was founded in 1642 in Northern Ireland by Scottish Protestants. A lot of Americans erroneously attribute the founding of the Presbyterian Church to the Scottish reformer John Knox. It's not true. He died 70 years before that. Number 2, Tilly or Tilly. This old Norman French family took its name from a place in France, so it's habitational name. It's a habitational name. In addition to England, Tilly has been in the Scottish records since 1165. I couldn't find it among the traditional surnames of Ireland or Wales, so your trail will likely lead you to Scotland or Ireland. On the other side of the Atlantic, Edward and Agnes Cooper Tilly arrived on the Mayflower in 1620. But sadly, Agnes and Edward both died in the first winter in Massachusetts. Boy, it was a desolate, hard time on them. The couple didn't have any children, though. The first Tilly that I could find who passed on his genes in America was Lazarus Tilly. He was born in Somerset, England in 1695. He later married Miriam Bigwood. Their son John B. was born in Virginia in 1715, so it looks like the earliest Tilly folks came from England but had deeper Norman roots. Number 3, Tolbert or Talbert. At the outset, let me say that these names originated among the Norman French again. We've got a lot of those today, it seems, and Scots-Irish names, who came to Great Britain in 1066. Nobles named Talbert were given estates in Lancashire. That's up in the northern part of England and the western part. Talbert has been in the Scottish records since around 1511. However, the form of Tolbert is rare in Great Britain and Ireland. The Tolbert family seems to have adopted this spelling in America. Edmund MacLeisic doesn't include either form in his list of traditional surnames of Ireland. In 1840, 19% of all Tolbert families in America resided in Virginia. It's also one of the few families that has a Wikipedia page. It seems that the family came from County Antrim in Northern Ireland and were of Scots-Irish origin. Robert Tolbert was born in 1765 and died in South Carolina in 1843. He was married to Nancy Ann Tolbert. She was born in 1754 and died in 1856, just before the Civil War. Given what we know about the surname's origins, it could well be true because Antrim attracted a lot of Scottish Protestants, and based on the dates, it seems that Virginia Tolberts originated in South Carolina. One of the earliest Tolberts that I could find in Virginia was James Monroe Tolbert, obviously named after the president. He was born in Laurel Fork, Virginia in 1816. Number 4, Lester or Lester. To me, this surname sounds as English as Oxford, which of course it is indeed. The toponomic name comes from the city of Leicester and the ceremonial county of Leicestershire in the eastern part of the Midlands in England. I wasn't able to find it among the traditional names of Ireland, Wales, or Scotland. That tells us that either spelling is of English origin. But is it antebellum? Is it an antebellum family? Well, according to Elma Stewart and Lyndall C. Miller, Peter Lester, the first of the Lesters in Pennsylvania, settled there in 1682. Wow, that would certainly be antebellum. He came from Leicestershire. He was a Quaker or a member of the Society of Friends. Peter declared intentions of marriage at a Chester monthly meeting of the Friends. His bride was Mary Duncalf or Duncalf. They got married in 1685. The Lesters didn't just stay in Pennsylvania, though. In 1752, John Lester was born in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. John, Abner, and Samuel Lester, believed to be brothers, settled in Botetourt County, Virginia, about 1770. At the end of the day, I'm confident that this antebellum family is of English origin. Number 5, Knots. When I received this request, I got pretty excited. I grew up hoping that the idyllic life depicted in Mayberry was not an illusion, but a true form of a town. As you might recall, the Andy Griffith Show ran from 1960 to 1968. One of the reasons why the show was a runaway hit was because of the chemistry between Andy Griffith and his on-screen cousin, which was only mentioned in the first season, Don Knotts. Don was so popular that he spun his fame into a fairly successful movie career, which was something in which Andy Griffith lagged behind. I love The Ghost of Mr. Chicken. It hit the theaters in 1966. If you look closely, you'll find that Hal Smith played a character named Calver Weems. If he looks familiar, it's because he played Otis Campbell, the dutiful town drunk, on the Andy Griffith Show. According to IMDb, Don's family came to America in the 17th century. A little research proved that claim to be true. While Don's immediate family hailed from West Virginia, Morgantown specifically, I think, the earliest members of this English family arrived in Maryland before 1649. That's the year that James and Eleanor Knotts welcomed their son, John, into the family. Boy, John and James was a real common name back in those days. So was Edmund, too, by the way. He passed away in 1700. Oh yeah. The name Knotts meant the son of Knott, a dweller at or on a rocky hill. Seems Don Knotts was truly a hillbilly. Well, folks, that's about all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed the discussion. And if you'd like a free copy of the Surname Catalog, send me an email to vantagepoint22@gmail.com and I'll send it to you as a PDF attachment. I look forward to our next venture into Southern family history here on the Vantage Point. In the meantime, may the good Lord bless and keep you. May He make His face shine on you and give you peace. Bye-bye.